Let's bring in ABC News aviation consultant Colonel Steve Ganyard this morning in Washington. And Steve, this is the second missing plane near Malaysia. Many people are duping this the Pacific Bermuda Triangle. What do you think could have happened?
It's tough to say. I mean, one of the things that's the biggest mystery here is that the radar data itself showed that at 32,000 feet, the aircraft just disappeared. So you would think that if the crew had lost control, maybe as they'd come down, there would have been some additional radar hits there to say, hey, the aircraft's descending, but it just disappeared at 32,000 feet.
And Steve,
there's very few things that could do that, and it could be weather related, but highly unlikely, or a bomb. But it just doesn't make sense that an airplane would disappear at 32,000 feet.
Right. Many officials are pointing to the stormy weather in the area. In fact, the pilot's last communication with the tower was asking to go above 32,000 feet. He was denied that request because of another aircraft. You don't believe weather was a factor. Why?
I think weather will be a factor, Amy. I think at the end, it may have been a contributing factor. Maybe it led to a loss of control. Maybe it led to some other catastrophic event. But I think right now, everything is open. We have to keep every possibility open. We have to think about everything that could have happened to this jet and can't just focus on weather. And that means finding the wreckage, finding that black box, reading the tapes, and figuring out what really happened.
And it sounds as though the recovery efforts might be a little easier than what we saw with 370 because of the Java Sea, correct?
Yes, just because it's surrounded by land, it's not the vast open ocean that we know out to the west of Australia where they're looking for the other missing aircraft. It's also fairly shallow, so if it's a shallower sea, it's going to be easier to get listening devices and those things down into the water once we get a general area. But it certainly, as David reported, it's not encouraging that the box that they're looking in is expanding rather than contracting. At this point, you would hope that they'd be narrowing that search area, but that's not the case today, and we have another day and another day towards the end of the life of that battery. So again, just like 370, the clock is ticking, and we've got 28 days left to find that airplane.
All right, Colonel Ganyard, thanks so much for that insight, but certainly just such a scary reminder of what can happen, and the fact that we've had two in just in a year's time is obviously very frightening for so many air travelers this holiday season.
And they are running out of time to find answers.